Welcome to the Rugby Connection podcast for the fans, by the fans. We're back with Six Nations this week. The trio, I'm joined with Harv and Murray. Lads, how's it going?
I'm good. It's been a very busy weekend, and this week's just going to get
a busy weekend.
This week's just going to get busier, but I'm going to...
Harv, how you doing? How you doing after Saturday? Was it Saturday? Yeah. Anyway, talking about that, Six Nations. We'll start with, obviously, Wales-Italy. We saw Wales getting their first win of the tournament, their first win in a while, 29-17 over Italy in Rome. Now, Murray, you are an advocate for Italy not playing in Rome.
Am I wrong now?
Should we just talk about, because obviously Italy, I think for the first time, were going into this game as potentially favourites.
Yep.
And they bottled it, really.
Well, I think there were a lot of chances bottled throughout the game. I mean, you know, how many times could they have turned it on the head and made a game of it? But they didn't. And this is something we saw last year, you know what I mean? You know, in the first game against France, in the game against Scotland, they were half all right. Yeah. You know, how many times do we see them getting up to the game line, something that they haven't, you know, getting up to the 22, getting in scoring positions, which is something over the last decade they haven't done within the first 60 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
They weren't used to that position. And you would have thought that this year since the Wales win last year, you would have thought that this year, I mean, they ran France very close, they ran Ireland very close.
They played all right against you for like
to the second half.
They've beaten Australia. They've ran a fair few other countries close, and they bowled it. And I don't know if it is a thing about Rome. I mean, you know, Rome is supposed to be this, well, in history anyway, this big magical city, you know, with military and all that kind of stuff. But they don't really seem very soldier-like, do they?
This is where my argument now uses statistics. They haven't won in 36 games at the Stadio Olimpico. Get out, move.
Didn't they play in Florence over the autumn?
And
that's what I'm saying. They beat Australia.
They beat Samoa.
Weren't in Rome. Every time they go to Rome, they get whacked. Don't play in Rome.
Play in Florence. I mean, they had a good crowd as well.
They had I think a smaller stadium, but it just means it.
Well, when they played South Africa as well, I believe that was also in Florence.
It was, yeah.
And again, they ran South Africa fairly close. The scoreline wouldn't tell you, but
first half against South Africa they ran us close, and then the second half, I think.
Well, I'm sure as a Safi, you might have been bricking it at some point.
Oh, that first half, 100%. But then the second half, obviously, we cleaned up. But yeah, I think the problem with Italy, we say, listen, missed opportunities, but that's been the theme for them this whole Six Nations, against France, against Ireland, and against England in that first half. So many opportunities missed. It's still a team on the up. It's still a young team. They're still learning. They're fairly new to winning, I'd say. It's only been recently that they've had sort of, you know, successful games. But, you know, discipline as well, 2 yellow cards in this game. There was a bit of dispute about refereeing decisions, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the referee's decision is last. And it seems like every game in rugby, whether it be club or international, there's always going to be some referee dispute. But I think, you know, Michele Lamaro, the captain, said after the game, just down to execution. That's what they need to improve, and I think that's what they need to focus on going forward is execution.
I feel like the first point we were always going to talk about was whatever the outcome of this game was Italy, right? Mm-hmm. I do think we do need to talk about how Wales just cleaned up.
How good was Reece Murdoch?
Reece Webb, I will hold my hands up and say well done to him, because I gave him when the selection came out, I gave it a bit of stick. I said, Reece Webb, I don't think he's going to be the man for the job. I think you should really stick with like a Thomas Williams, or maybe even get a Kieran Hardy in. But you know what? Fair play to Reece Webb, because he really, really ran that game.
I mean, this is probably a bit extreme, but this is like Michael Jordan stuff. Like, you know, have a good spell, return, and just be amazing again. Just pick up where you left off.
No, 100%. And Wales definitely looked, obviously not back to their best, but they looked, you know, that there's signs of hope there. And, you know, it's not so much of you beat Italy. It doesn't really mean much. This Italian team is quality now. And we saw players who haven't really been standing up for the past couple of weeks stand up, like Talupe Faletau. Ken Owens, I thought, had a quietly good game.
I think Rio Dyer is
Rio Dyer, he's going to be something special. Him and Zamet. Again, I've given Zamet stick, but
I think the only thing holding Dyer back now actually is Wales.
Probably.
How you know, is he currently at a peak? Is he currently peaked? Sorry.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself, if he was in a system like Ireland or something.
Exactly. If he was an Irish player, if he was an All Black or someone like that, how good could he actually be?
Exactly. And we've seen him in the URC for the Dragons. He has scored some quality tries. He's an electric player. And he's surprisingly strong for his size as well.
Actually, I'll say, you know, it's almost the same argument. The Dragons aren't incredible.
No.
So is it just the teams that he's in that are holding him back? Again, we can't just talk about individual talent without realizing this is a game of 15 men against 15 men. You know, it's not just individual talent doesn't get you everywhere.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. It helps if someone can spot a gap, run through. But at the end of the day, it's 15 versus 15. It's not 1 versus 1.
At the end of the day, Oh, sorry, Murray, go on.
I was just going to say, do you know who also didn't hold back? Just because you were flowing really well there, so I didn't really want to interrupt. But head coach Kieran Crawley, he did not pull any punches in that interview. He was happy.
Straight to the point. Obviously, I think he was a bit hurt by a few refereeing decisions. I think as a coach with a young team, the frustration of a lack of execution, mistakes, discipline, as we call them, they're coach killers.
Again, this is why we can't get nice things. We all fell in for it. We gave Italy the chance. We were like, yeah, Italy's favourites. Let's go for it. Forza Azzurri, and then no.
Yeah. But listen, Italy will take something to learn from this, and Wales will definitely appreciate the win and take a bit of courage away, where they away to France, which is going to be a massive test for them. So, talking about France, should we move on to the next game? An absolutely massive, record-breaking result at Twickenham. France 53, England 10. The biggest home loss England have ever faced, the third biggest loss in total, away and home, that they've faced. Harv, I'll let you start. Just talk about England. I think we'll start with England and then we'll give France the praise. But what went wrong?
I don't think I've ever felt that horribly sad in about 2 years.
Not even when you got beat by us in round 1.
Yeah, but at least we actually played decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm just saying, you've never lost.
It's a sore loss, but it's not. But at least we went down fighting. Yeah. France just took us. France just took us down. The ref said nothing, and he just kept on punching.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, I hate to say it. I think everything went wrong. Anything that could have, it did. I mean, how many times were, it was so slow, the fence just wasn't there. I think we were lacking creative, and I know I'm not one to criticize Steve Borthwick, but I almost think that he was confident putting this whole Marcus Smith thing in, and around 45 minutes he kind of just threw in the towel and said, Farrell, get out there.
Yeah.
And that if you're trying to stick to your guns, then 100% keep Marcus on and keep the creativity flowing.
You can't make that decision once dropping Smith. He plays an absolute howler of a game for the Quins in the Premier Premiership, you bring him back and you show that faith in him and that belief in him, and you say, listen, you've got the starting spot back. And then listen, even no matter how bad it was going, for a coach to then almost go back on his word and say, right, get off.
I think that Borthwick does still have a lot to learn. I think that he can be a very good England coach.
Oh, 100%.
But I almost think that was also almost cowardly from him.
Like, I think
it's a brutal word, but I think it's almost cowardly.
Yeah.
Do you think this could be like an awakening for Steve Borthwick's side and even his coaching staff as well? Just because
I don't
considering they're very defense orientated, they didn't defend. It didn't make sense.
I genuinely think now people are actually starting to realise that the way it was left after Eddie Jones is worse than we thought. I think that people originally thought that, we're just not doing well, or it might be the RFU, or it could be the players. And I just don't think that people realise how bad it was that we let Eddie Jones go in. And I think I do still think it was the right decision, because, well, we could almost be facing the same result now if we still had Eddie. But I think that, with a new coach, the only way is up. So I think that to have Borthwick in was still the right idea. I think now, we have to talk about our players that Eddie put a lot of faith into. We talked a lot about he put a lot of trust into players who, let's say, were formerly their best selves and stuff like that, and he went with players he knew has worked in the past, but he doesn't quite take into consideration form. I don't know if maybe Borthwick's still trying to work that out. Again, I saw what Matt Dawson said. Matt Dawson was almost brutal about it. He was saying that Jamie George was world class back in the day, but maybe today he might not be. Even Maro Akanji, someone that I've always bigged up and to be honest has always put in a shift. He doesn't look like his former self. Freddie Stewart, and as much as I hate to say this, we were talking about him being the best 15 in the world. I think he's very, very good, and I don't think he hits a beat wrong for England, but he's not world class. I would say that, to be honest, I think I was only impressed by one England player, and that's when he came on, Alex Mitchell. He is so good. He did speed up a bit of the game. We got that try with Freddie. And you almost thought it was back on for a second, but again, this is what I was saying about the whole Rio Dyer thing. This is a 15 versus 15 game.
Yeah,
we can't just ask one player if he's brilliant to go do everything. Weirdly enough, there was no defense there. You were saying that we're a very defense-led team. Sinfield, for as much as I think, has done wonders, but we just didn't get it right on the day, and I think that we almost went in with a chance, thinking that England, this is a fresh squad and a fresh start. France, they're not as scary as they might have been last year. I think that both of those, have been kind of a bit more discouraged with, France still are
they are potentially, like, there's an argument to say France are still maybe even the best in the world. I know they're lost to Ireland, but
yeah, like I think that while we still are a fresh squad and a new squad, I think there's still so much to do. I mean, you've chucked Borthwick in straight in the Six Nations, and if we're asking him to get results now, I think it's unfair on him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But I think from an England fan perspective, it's just purely embarrassing, really. I think on the day we weren't good at all.
I think you've covered all the points that I would have added to that on England's side and whatnot. But let's just quickly talk about France, because we've maybe been saying from their performances before this game that did they peak last year? Are they slowly, is that ill discipline creeping back in? Because they haven't been top form the last few games, but then after after a fixture like this, it's scary to see, and it sort of bring back the old sort of saying, which French team will turn up, and I mean,
I think they've just all the mistakes they made in the first 3 rounds, they've cleaned up.
100%. I think
discipline perfect. I mean, however many, just looking at the stats now anyway.
Crazy.
I can't even find it.
I know he's always been highly regarded, but I've never seen Damien Penaud have that much space. Ever. I've never seen him have almost like fullback territory with ball.
Well, I think by the end, when we let him have the 2 tries, I mean, we're so run out. We're so down, and to be honest, defense was everywhere.
I have to say, like, that might be the closest to a perfect performance from 15 players on a pitch that I've seen in maybe since like the 2015 All Blacks. Just in that one game, they were. I don't think I could pick, other than maybe the odd breakdown penalty. I can't quite remember, but other than that, I can't pick out a fault with how France played.
I just think France are just that team, aren't they?
You do have to say they are they're 2 teams at very different stages.
I've got a question for you, boys.
Okay.
What can't Antoine Dupont do?
Honestly, like, the guy's got, I'd say he's probably bulky enough to slip into the back row if he needed to be. He can take kicks. We've seen him take kicks before. He can make, he can make a line break like an inside centre. He has the pace of an outside back. The guy's incredible. Some people say, is he the best player in the world? Yes. Just watching him, and he's one of those players who it's hard not to notice. We talk about players having a quietly good game. Antoine Dupont has like a loud good game. You always notice him. Every game he plays for France, he always stands out. He's always involved.
He never does quiet. Also, how good was the big man on return, Jonathan Dante?
Oh my honestly,
God. We could rattle off the whole team how good they were, but
But no, listen, France, an amazing game. England, obviously, really, really, really tough loss, but it's something to learn from. We've seen teams lose like this and come back. But it's, setting up for next week. On the Sunday then, yesterday, Murray, a game that could have been so much better, I think. Ireland 22, Scotland 7. I'll just say quickly, I think Scotland, once again, similar to the France game, especially in that first half, showed a hell of a lot of promise. They were, they were tit for tat with Ireland. They were running them, they were running the ball well. Ireland's defense was bunching up. They were making it difficult for Ireland. And then it's just that second half where it all sort of started falling apart. But, as the resident Scotland fan, what's your opinion on the team's performance?
Overall, sorry, I've got a really tickly throat this episode, but overall, very good. I think you've kind of just hit on the head there. I mean, I might be blowing smoke up Scotland's arse at the moment, but I don't think there's been another singular team that's pushed the best 2 teams in the world that close, if that makes sense. England didn't do it. Ireland kind of ran away against France. I know many people think it was the greatest game ever. I don't think it was, but then you had France, Scotland, and Scotland were just not giving in with France, despite being 19-0 down. Ireland come in, and everyone's expecting rough. I mean, you read my comments during this weekend. I mean, that was brutal, and yet we kept it tight. And the only big what if to me was if we got that try right at the end of the first half.
Could have been a different story.
Could have been different. I don't even have any issue when I wouldn't even say Ireland ran away with it, but you could almost see the moment It was
It's
when.
a comfortable win for Ireland.
But is it?
I'd say in that second half.
It's the first game this tournament they've not put 30 points on a team.
Yeah, but I'd say maybe not the whole second half, but that last quarter. And also considering Ireland losing both hookers, Neely having come on as hooker, Josh van der Flier taking the throw-ins at the line out. I thought Scotland definitely missed an opportunity to capitalise on that.
He could throw some darts. That's insane.
He can. He's another player. You know what can't he do? But I think, yeah, Scotland missed the opportunity to capitalise on Ireland's injury list. Obviously, could have put up, I suppose three props in the front row. It was going to be hard to scrum against anyway. But Josh van der Flier taking the throw-ins, I thought Scotland definitely could have put a bit more pressure on those lineouts.
I still think, regardless, I mean, it was a special occasion because Stuart Hogg, 100. He's injured now. I don't actually know what happened. I think he just took an awkward knock. I think it was the Jack Conan try. I think he ran too hard and almost got his foot trapped under. And Conan's a big lad. I'll hurt anyone. So, special occasion. High praise to his little boy Archie, who presented the match ball, who proper sprinted out. Love that.
I like the little finger touch they did as well. That was
And I mean, the scoreline might not say it, but I'm definitely proud of this team.
Yeah, and I think I said to you privately, because we were talking about shaping up for the World Cup, and I said even if Scotland lose to Ireland, obviously Scotland and Ireland being in the same pool, a loss against Ireland earlier in the year, it could give them, the sort of blueprint to success in that, in that pool stages. But yeah, it's definitely something to think about. But talking about Ireland, friend of the show, man of the match, Matthew Hampson, he was playing like a bloody loose forward with the turnovers.
Oh, good. 4 turnovers.
Yeah, for a winger. And a winger of his build. Like, he's not like a John Lomu. Like, he's a lightly built guy, but fair play to him. He's getting right stuck in.
It's a scrum cap, man.
It's a scrum cap. It gives you superpowers.
I'm gutted, right? I missed him. I was standing, and it was when the team were doing the whole like that, like thanks for showing up. And I'm like, wait, and it's like he's seen me, but he didn't. So it was just kind of like the general thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, I'll run or move down a little bit closer to the tunnel. And by the time I got there, because of the bloody stewards, I could just see Mac doing like the neutral double thumbs up and right down the tunnel. I was like, son of a bitch. But it's okay because I got a nice warm embrace cuddle from Pierre Schumann. And
that always fixing everything. But then obviously also a bit of upsetting news for Ireland, Gary Ringrose.
Yes.
Taking a horrific knock. It's something that I don't think you'll ever get fully used to seeing when a player goes down like that and has to be stretchered off, especially when they're properly down and out.
I think the terrifying bit was obviously I was there. You see him go. I didn't see what he did to make him go down, which was a strange bit. It looked because initially the way he was lying, it looked like he was just avoiding to be offside with a hand if you know how players just lying off. That's how it looked. And the guy in front of me was like, something's wrong there, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, his leg's shaking. Yeah,
but from what we've heard, he's on the path to recovery, and we wish him a speedy one.
I just want to. It's a dark bit, and it ruined a big bit. I mean, I already told Harv about it in depth. Cam, you don't really know this. I'm not naming names, or I don't even know the guy's name. I don't want to. So where I sit right next to the steps in Murrayfield, and there's this guy that's one and across from me. Yeah, and he's like, your internet troll, thinks he knows it all. He claims he could see hands in the ruck from God knows how many meters away. So I'd like to see his glasses. But so Luke Pearce, friend of the show, stops the game. Gary Ringrose is hurt. This muppet bitches and moans, why is the game getting stopped? And I'm saying because he's hurt. Aye, but it's not a head injury. That was this man's legit quote. I'm like, come on, mate.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. And a bit of me actually felt bad about this. See, the minute the neck brace came out and the cart came out, I really hope that guy felt bad for saying that. Yeah, I genuinely believe that. But Gary's all right. He's not playing this week. Come in, just because of protocols. But Irish Rugby's put out that he's all good. And yeah, we move on to Super Saturday. Shall we do predictions for Super Saturday?
Let's do some predictions. We'll start off. Obviously, all the games on Saturday. Back in Murrayfield, Scotland versus Italy. We'll start with you.
Scotland by 30. I'm not giving Italy any credit now. I've done it. I've gave them the credit. They've bottled it. They buggered it. And it's going to be special. It's my father-in-law's first game. I'm taking him. So that'll be good. Yeah.
Well, I think your father-in-law will enjoy when Italy win by 2.
You're a muppet.
It's going to be, similar proceedings to the Wales game last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Down a fair bit of the game. Last minute try. I'm talking not Capuzzo, obviously. Palavani goes in for the score. Garbisi scores the extra 2, and we're done. Italy by 2.
Okay.
As much as I want that to happen, at Murrayfield, I'm going to say Scotland. I'm going to give Italy credit because I do think they'll come back a bit galvanised and wanting to perform better. I'm going to say Scotland by 10.
Listen,
I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Italy. It's just I've given them enough credit this whole tournament.
Italy do better away from Rome.
They do.
Play Rome then.
Anyway, what could be a literal lamb to the slaughter in Paris, France versus Wales.
France by 40, and I legit mean that. Like, there's no chance in hell. I'm not being funny. If England controlled majority of the Welsh game and then got blitzed by France, who are now all guns blazing, there's no danger Wales are coming close.
France by 44, so we're not the worst defeat from France. Yes, him.
All abuse is going to shift to the Welsh next week. Listen, France are going to run away with it. I'll just give Wales a little bit of credit, even though I don't really believe it. I'll say France by 35, and that's me giving Wales credit.
You give Wales credit.
Yeah, that's me giving Wales credit. No, listen, I think France are just in a different spot at the moment, and Wales, similar to England, and in Paris, they're not going to have what it takes.
Fair enough.
Another big one. Harv is cringing here. England over to the Aviva, playing Ireland in Dublin. What is going to happen with that?
Grand Slam decider in Dublin on St.
I think it's decided.
Ireland by 32, and I'm being generous. I know that England are hurting, but nobody's coming close. Nobody's coming close to Ireland.
Yeah, we're gonna bounce back. It's gonna be England
back your team.
By 1.
Yeah, boy, he doesn't believe it.
We'll just about do it. We'll I'm gonna go as far to say, like, I don't know, Will Collier drop goal. I have that much faith.
Fair enough.
I've got flashbacks to me and Murray's first ever pod together.
Yes, the Will Collier tattoo on the arse cheek. That still hasn't happened.
Yeah, no.
If I do the maths in my head, Ireland beat France by like 12 something points, let's say. France beat England by 40 plus points. So if we add them both together, I'm going to say Ireland by 50 plus. That's me doing my mathematics.
Well, Happy
St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
I know who's not getting a Christmas card this year.
Me, because I'm still waiting on last year's one.
I'm sorry, Murray. We had some interruptions in my life.
Anyway, shall we go into Premiership?
That's Six Nations covered. We also had some club rugby played. We had Premiership and Super Rugby played.
Why is this weekend so bad?
Can we just start with that game that Harv's like both club and country has conceded 100 points this weekend.
Let's start with Bristol versus Harlequins.
Right, I'll tell you what happens, right? We've got 6 lads away on internationals. We are not and Tommaso Allen, that's 7. we have. I can't remember supporting Harlequins with this many.
World's smallest violin, my friend. You're shit.
The world's biggest.
I've never actually got that trend. I've never.
Anyway, we haven't even said the score. Bristol 51, Harlequins 26.
Yeah,
A bit of a. Said it was change from last week.
I mean, listen, look at the names that Bristol had this weekend.
Don't give me that.
I'm just saying, Bristol have a good team on them. I mean, listen.
What's happening to Bristol, by the way?
Tries. Harry Thacker, Gabriel Ibitoye, that's a kick in the nuts. Semi Rodrada, Charles Piatow.
Big Charlie boy in the second week in a row, he's cooking.
Plus, Harry Randall as well. Plus, AJ McGinty had.
Yeah, friend of the show, AJ McGinty.
He dropped a fair. He was dropping basketball scores on us. So, yeah, I mean, listen. The international break. The international window was not one I was looking forward to as a Quins fan.
You were loving it last week when Marcus Smith got dropped, but
well, listen, we had Smith, Murley, and Marchant. That's a decent lot.
I was praying for Borthwick to drop Smith again.
You still had Murley because Murley doesn't get picked for England.
Oh yeah, no, he was actually playing as well. Listen, I mean, Murley scored. Anyway, I will just be happy in 2 weeks' time when we get Smith.
When he's not back because he has to have his rest because he's been on international duty.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? We're bottom in the league. We're getting Challenge Cup.
Anyway, we'll go back to the Friday then. We'll put Harv out his misery. We'll go on right back to the start. Northampton Saints versus Bath. 45-26, a home win for the Saints. Absolutely smashing Bath. On to the Saturday, a good win for your Chiefs, Murray. 24-5. A home win over the Falcons. And then the two games before Harv's misery on the Sunday, Gloucester versus Leicester. Leicester having a very good away win, 26-5 to the Tigers. And then a big result for London Irish. I think I called this one, beating the Sale Sharks, 36-18. Good home win for them.
Can we just talk about, not even in detail, just the Gloucester-Leicester game? There was no score till the 57th minute.
I was watching very loosely. I was also trying to watch the Fulham Arsenal game, which Fulham also lost. That's 3 L's that week. It looked like such an awful game.
It wasn't. My only highlight of that game was Andre Pollard pulling some WWE suplex stuff.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That was disgusting. I think I said to you, Murray, I think sometimes Pollard forgets he's not a loose forward.
He used no arms. If people don't know what we're on about, remember when George North picked up his flag and went, right, come on, son,
ran with him.
Andre Pollard did that with no hands. Like, look, mum, no hands. Whoop,
yeah, he did it with no hands, and then instead of carrying him, he just dropped him off the other side.
That's insane.
But no, yes, pretty good weekend of Premiership. Am I right in saying we do have some Premiership? No, we don't. Do we have Premiership next weekend?
Yes, we can't lose next weekend.
You can't lose next week. All right then. That takes us to Super Rugby, and might I say some very good results. We'll start on the Friday. It's pretty expected. Chiefs versus Highlanders, 28-7 to the Chiefs.
Mod.
An unexpected result, Rebels versus the Tars, 34-27, a good win for the Rebels at home. On the Saturday, we had the maddest upset, I think, of maybe this year. Fijian Drua beating the Crusaders 25-24. It's another one I called. I said the Drua would do it somehow, and they did it. What a game. Fair play to them.
It was good. It was a great game. And made it better. Sorry. What made it better? It's Premiership Rugby does this as well. It's like match predictor, but not by how many. It's like percentage
It
of
was 99 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, it was 99% chance of winning for Crusaders. Drua was literally that 1%, and
All
it was
they
in Fiji.
needed.
It was in Fiji.
That's what I'm saying. That I said it. I think I said it last week. That home crowd for the Drua is just full of passion, and yeah, they got
But they don't get
historic win.
in Fiji often. Like they are a Fijian team. They'll play.
I think they have one of their home grounds in Australia. Am I right in saying?
New Zealand. No, Australia. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because Moana Pacifica play out of somewhere in New Zealand. I can't remember off the top of my head.
MT Smart Stadium where the New Zealand Warriors
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, after that, the Blues getting an away win against the Hurricanes 25-19. A full close battle, Brumbies versus Reds, the top two Australian teams, 23-17 to the Brumbies. And another close one, the Force versus Moana Pacifica. The Force get their home win 21-18 over Moana Pacifica. Predictions for next week then. We'll start on the Friday. Hurricanes versus Waratahs.
Canes by 27.
Canes by 27. Yeah, I'm going to say the Canes in New Zealand. I'll say Canes by 18.
I was going to go Canes by 15.
There we go.
Fair enough. On to the Saturday. Chiefs versus Rebels. Another one in New Zealand.
Chiefs by 16. The Rebels are playing quite well, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll give the Rebels the credit. I'll say Chiefs by like 12.
Yeah.
The Chiefs by 15.
Fair enough.
15.5.
A massive fixture in Auckland, Blues versus Crusaders.
Watch Crusaders run roughshod on Blues for some daft reason.
Just out of nowhere.
I'm going to go Crusaders by 14. Yeah, 2 tries.
Ooh.
Crusaders by 15.
Stop with the 15.
I mean, I'm gonna back the Blues, and I'm gonna say Blues by 5. But Jesus Christ, Anyway, bloody hell, Brumbies versus Moana Pacifica.
Hard, just yeah.
Rugby's by 15.
Yeah, boy. I'm gonna go Brumbies by 3. I think Moana will push them right to the edge. I'd like to see an upset.
Moana have been playing good this season, but I think the Brumbies will have too much. I'm gonna say Brumbies by like 19 points.
Christ, yeah, fair, okay.
We actually have some Sunday fixtures for Super Rugby. Highlanders versus the Force.
Oh, surely the Landers have actually got to win a game now.
No, I'm going Force by 13.
I'm going Highlanders by 15.
Highlanders are.
I'll break the trend. Landers by 6.
Yeah, I'll back the Highlanders to get a win. I'll say Highlanders by 7.
Fair, yeah.
And the last fixture, Queensland Reds versus everyone's favourite Fijian Drua.
Can the Drua do it back to back?
I'd like to see that.
They've never
They're
done
away
it.
from home. They're in Queensland.
The Reds, I think, I wouldn't say they're looking amazing, but they're not looking bad.
Reds.
They ain't the Crusaders, so
Reds by 10.
Yeah. I'll probably give it to the Reds. I'll give the Drua quite a bit of credit. I'll say Reds by like 3 points.
Reds by 15.
He's back.
Anyway, lads, everyone's favourite segment, random game of the week. Who would like to start?
We'll let Harv start. He's suffered enough this episode, so we'll let Harv start.
Oh, I haven't even got a match yet. I know. But I do have a match. Our favourite competition has come to an end. The Kenya Cup final.
Oh no! What am I going to watch?
The Kenya Cup came to a close.
Oh man. A
Cabra
depressing time
Sugar.
for all rugby fans.
Cabra Sugar beat KCB 19-9 to win the Kenya Cup for this year. Round of applause for Cabra Sugar.
Put them in the Champions Cup.
No!
That's next year's prize. Winner of the Kenya Cup.
Winner of the Kenya Cup gets to face Leinster.
Oh, just call it a Club World Cup at this point. I'm done.
It's going to be the Club World Cup.
Yeah, just put some Super Rugby teams there as well. It'll be a blast. Anyway, Murray?
I'm just watching Harv just like crumble. My random game of the week is in the Japan Rugby League 1, where the Brave Lupus beat the Green Rockets 49-20.
Bloody hell.
Nice big win in Japan. So there we go.
We love to see it. My random game of the week is actually a game that is very close to my heart. We're going to the Curry Cup. The Pumas versus the Bulls. Now, the Pumas, if you don't know, are, I suppose, my local team. They play out of Nelspruit being the town where I was born. And the Pumas absolutely demolishing the Bulls, 63-15. Bear in mind, the Bulls team was pretty much the Bulls URC team. Pretty much. Maybe like their B-side URC team. And the Pumas, the reigning Curry Cup champions, put them to the sword. Massive win. I'm a bit conflicted in the Curry Cup because my hometown team, the Pumas, and also my team that I traditionally support, the Sharks, play in the same competition. So, yeah. But yeah, big win for the Pumas.
Nice, love that. We've got any news this week just to round off?
Any news?
You know how much I've criticised the RFU and their tackle laws. Well, Rugby have decided to have a pot.
Yes.
With what is colloquially called the Tommy tackle. So basically, they are trying to lower the tackle height from, I believe, currently it's shoulders down to sternum down. If you're going to lower it, I feel like this is a sensible-ish place to do it.
Yeah, I suppose it's better. Yeah, like anywhere under there.
Yeah, and I feel like you would. Well, you might aim for a little bit of the rib cage, but I think, as much as lowering gets, and especially in faster situations, or if you're a bigger lad than the ball carrier, I think it's reasonable. I just think that there needs to obviously just be studies done now and tests.
Under, I suppose it is the belly rule, as they're calling it. Yeah, under the sponsor is where I would.
Yeah, under the sponsor. I mean, obviously the RFU tried to implement very extreme ways of under the waist, which, to be honest, it's not the best in the RFU.
It's just stupid.
Well, you know what? You can say it like that, Cam.
It's just obscene. No, but listen, I think it's a more reasonable way. It's
I just think it needs to be open for trials now.
But the thing is, I can't see like above the shoulder or around the shoulder tackles, even with that law implemented. I can't see them dropping drastically because sometimes it's just where the hit happens. At the speed rugby games are played, sometimes that's what happens. We've got the tackle laws now, and we still get head-on-head contact. We still get shoulder-to-head contact. It still happens. Yeah. So honestly, I don't think it's going to 100% solve the problem. And I think rather than changing the tackle height, I think, stick how it is and just work on discipline, I suppose. I don't know. I don't quite know the answer, but hey-oh.
Well, it's not really global rugby news, it's just more RCP rugby news. So we've just dropped the interview with Wales scrum half Ciara Bevan, talking all sorts of getting a professional contract with the WRU, that clutch kick that she pulled off in last year's World Cup, and we discuss the potential of the British and Irish Lions, or Lioness, if you want to refer to it like that. And
we haven't mentioned that.
And coming out this week, boys, it's a big one. is possibly the biggest one that we've ever done.
Maybe.
I'm just going to give you some of his stats before I say his name. 101 Wallabies caps, 64 international tries, 1991 Rugby World Cup winner, Lions Series winner, one of the greatest of all time, David Campese.
How do we manage that? Look at us three sitting here now. To be fair, it's all Murray because he's the one who reaches out to them. But imagine if these players watched our podcast week in week out.
They do.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do.
No, they generally like they'll go and watch it and be like, love the show. I'm happy to come on.
So you're telling me David Campese went and watched me and Harv have a wet dream of a Benetton?
Yep.
He thought, yes, I want to be a part of that.
Yes. Genuinely.
Fair play to David. You know, Murray had a good old chat with him. Definitely an insightful chat with him. You know, any interview with a player of that degree is just going to be a good time. So guys, listen, go check out. There's an interview pretty much every week. There's 2 podcasts every week. Myself, Harv, and Murray, and then Anja and Jemma doing their podcast as well.
They should be returning soon. So
should be returning soon. Obviously, they've taken a bit of a break, but we've got so much content. We've got our podcast. We've got interviews with, you know, world-class players, absolute rugby legends. Just go check us out. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on TikTok, we're everywhere. Drop us a follow, help out the cause. It means a lot to us. And you get some good content, and me and Harv. You also get that. Yeah, you get some good content, and then you get content. Yeah, we'll stop there. But no, guys, I think you know, we'll wrap up here. A good chat all about Six Nations, Premiership, Super Rugby. Last week of the Six Nations next week, and then I suppose we'll proceed as normal, talking a bit more in depth about the club rugby and everything.
No, there's a Six Nations straight after that. We've got the Women's
Six Nations coming. We've got the Women's Six Nations coming up. It's going to be such a stacked year. We've got Women's Six Nations coming up. Then we're going to go. We've got a lot of friendlies. We've got summer internationals. We've got rugby championship, and then we're going straight into a World Cup.
Yeah,
it's going to be packed, guys. So, you know, keep tuning in. Plenty of content to come from us. Follow us all on our individual TikToks and whatnot, because we do that as well somehow. But yeah, you know, cheers, guys, for watching us again, and we will see you next week with the final of the Six Nations.